I'll go first.
Let's start over there.
No, I am Patricia. I am a spoken word artist here in Hampton Roads. I am also a maternal mental health advocate. You can follow me on Instagram at Patricia's Journey. That's Patricia with an S, Journey with an I, not a Y. And then my business is Mom Men's. I hold mental health workshops every first Saturday of the month, and we have one this Saturday. If you would like to come, it's in Portsmouth, Virginia. I said that wrong because I'm not from here. I'm sorry. All right, that's it.
Portsmouth. I had to write that too.
Yeah.
Portsmouth.
Yeah. So I am Hassan Terry, CEO and founder of Cam Studios. Cam stands for Capturing Authentic Moment Studios. You can find me at that title on Instagram, C.A.M. Studios. And I'm also an artist as well. Monk the Pilgrim is the stage name, MONKTHA, Pilgrim, all one word. And those are my social media handles, for sure.
Yes, sir. All right. My name is Devin Lundy. I'm a real estate agent. You can follow me at Devin Lundy Homes, and that's just DevinLundy Homes. I'm on Instagram and then Facebook as well. And then I also have a marketing agency that I created pretty recent. It's Peak and Sync. That's PIQUE and then the letter N and then Sync SYNC. And yeah, we're just working, man. Trying to make it happen.
I'm DJ Thorpe. I'm a PE teacher at Sewell's Point Elementary School. I don't really have anything to promote, so just go follow everybody's socials. Follow Studio Intrigue.
DJ on the
Yeah,
gram.
follow DJ underscore Thorpe 14. But other than that, just support everybody that you see here. That's all I have.
All right. Question number 1. What is a popular saying or cliche that you think is actually terrible advice?
So I'm big on mental health, but I think the whole thing about rest, right? Like sometimes we will tell people, if it's getting too bad, rest. Like, okay, I get it, but I think we kind of get complacent with that. Like just because it's hard doesn't mean you need to sit down. Maybe you need to work through it. And I think there is a balance to that, but I'm just big on, like if it's 7 days in a week, you only rest for one. And if it's hard for those 6, then you find a way to make those 6, whatever you do in those 24 hours better for you, but don't rest for 10.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I get that. So you feel like people might confuse like rest with complacency or laziness, if you will.
Yeah.
That's an excuse. Okay, I get that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then wonder why 3 months down the road you don't have no fruit.
Like, you've been doing that. You've been resting.
You've been resting. Like it's hard, but life is hard. Like I don't think it should be easy. I feel like it's hard when, you pushing against the grain, you working, you. When it's cool and chilling out, that's when it's like you need to hold up now. You need. I don't know.
I get it. I support that. I don't really got too much to add to that. That's facts.
Yeah.
That's big facts. Well, mine is follow your heart. I think that's terrible advice, right? And when I say that, I have to like explain what I mean. So not necessarily follow your heart per se, because I get the sentiments. It's like whatever you like, whatever you do, whatever like really is a passion of yours, like pursue that. I agree with that, but I believe following like you said no fruit, following that analogy, right? I believe like the heart is like soil, and I think a lot of times we have different seeds that are planted in our hearts, and sometimes we need to assess why we want to do something in the first place. So instead of just following what you like, maybe try to understand your heart before you want to pursue what it is that you think you want to pursue, and see where did that desire come from in the first place. Like, what is this gonna be beneficial to myself or the people around me, or is this just maybe it's a pipe dream, just whatever it is. Like is it beneficial for myself or the people around me? So I think following your heart is not necessarily the best thing. A lot of times people end up in a lot of crazy situations because they follow their heart. I want to do what I want to do. Sometimes what you want to do ain't the best right now. You need to take a breather. And so yeah, that's that. Don't follow your heart. Y'all agree? Disagree? What you feeling?
I'm indifferent about
Me
this.
too. Me too. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Like in my brain, like this is kind of what I'm thinking about right now. Like, okay, so like with follow your heart, typically that is where the passion is. That's like that's just where the passion is. Like whenever people are like follow your heart, because like in my brain, whenever I'm thinking, it's like, okay, I know what I should be doing. I should probably go get a job. I should probably go do like the traditional way and of thinking, just like of just doing. But like with follow your heart, it's like you're just tapping into another side of like, I mean that heart doesn't have. I mean, it's not like a brain. You know what I mean? So I mean, you can. I don't know. Like I don't know. It's like I don't. It's like I don't agree with it, but I also don't disagree with it. I'm kind of just like maybe just trying to Yeah, like I'm like on the fence because like I do agree with it, but it's also like, damn, I don't know. Maybe I need to think about it a little bit more. I never really thought about it in as like a I don't know. Whenever I think about follow your heart, I just think about like, man, just go for that shit. You know what I mean? Like just go for whatever it's telling you because the heart be speaking loud a lot of the times, you know what I mean? And sometimes you can just get in your own head and get in your own way of like actually just going for what you actually want because in your brain's thinking about everybody else but yourself, you know what I'm saying? But like your heart, that shit knows what it wants at the end of the day, you know what I mean? Like that shit knows. Like you get a feeling in your heart whenever you should be talking to somebody or whenever you should be just going to do stuff in general, you know what I mean? So that's kind of where my brain is where it's like I agree with it, but it's also like I don't know. I'm like a little bit indifferent, if that makes sense.
Okay, I got a question in
Mhm.
response to that, but I know she was disagreeing too. Like,
No, and you too, right?
Yeah,
I wanted
no,
him.
no,
You
no,
supposed to
So,
say.
yeah,
like me, mine's kind of similar to what yours. Like my cliche was like, don't think with your heart, think with your brain. I think that's terrible. Like I think it should be like a mixture of both because obviously, like your heart, like Devin said, it's like what you're passionate about. It's like what you truly want to do. But at the same time, like you have to think like with your brain, like, all right, am I qualified enough for it? Like, do I have enough experience? Do I have the skills for it? Like for me, like I personally want to work in the sports industry. So yes, like I've worked in ticketing, so like that's like kind of like a building block to get in there. But at the same time, like I have to think like the bigger picture. Like, hey, have I like I've only done ticketing for pretty much a year. Like most companies or most sports organizations want like 5 to 7 years of experience, something like that, or not even just ticketing. Like I'm sorry, but how do I word this?
Yeah, no, it's
Yeah.
you know what I
How do
mean?
I
It's like
word
you're
this?
trying to come with the right words.
Yeah.
listen to your heart.
So like people want the skills. So, like you have to realize, like you have to know yourself. Like all right, like yes, I know this is what I want to do with my heart, but am I there? Like right now, like do I have the skills? Like do I have enough experience? Like am I there? Do I have enough expertise? That's what the word I was thinking of. Like do I have the expertise right now to do what I truly want to do? So I feel like when most people say like, "Oh, just think with your brain," like yes, you obviously should think with your brain, but you still have to listen to what your heart's telling you because if you don't, like, you're just gonna do just what is status quo. Like you're not gonna be passionate about what you truly do.
For
Mm-hmm.
sure.
Mm-hmm.
I rock with that.
Oh no, I'm different, like he was saying, and maybe I'm completely opposite, but I think that you should follow your heart. I think that the truth is there. I think that your brain, logically, like right, you were just saying how you have to have this amount of experience, but in actuality, I don't think that you do.
Mhm.
And I say that because I just got offered a job that like you darn near supposed to have like a doctorate for. But because okay, I don't want to go all gospel, but I think that if it's for you, he will open doors for you to get it, regardless if you got 5 years or 1 month.
No,
Like if it's
I
for you, it's
agree with
for you.
that. I
So
agree with that.
like, I just think, yeah, you can use your brain, but if it's for you, it's gonna come to you. Like,
Yeah.
but the truth, I just think you have to stick with your truth. Like,
Mhm.
and I think your brain will get in the way because, like you were just saying, oh man, 5 years. So maybe I can't see myself having this in 2026 or 2027, but maybe you could.
Mhm.
Like your heart is telling you you could, but your brain is like, no, because everybody else did X, Y, and Z. But no, so I
I like
disagree.
that. I like
So
that.
I disagree.
to your point though, I think so. I think the heart part, what he's talking about is, I want you to elaborate on what you mean by
Okay.
heart.
Mhm.
Because I know y'all are kind of regarded as far as passion, purpose.
Mm.
What do you want to do?
Mhm.
Did you have like a different
Yeah,
idea of heart?
a different idea of heart for sure.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So I do believe your heart is the cells in which your life is charted. So yes, definitely be true to your heart. But
Mhm.
being true to your heart and following your heart to me is two different things. And what I mean by that is, okay, so a lot of times, like, we'll feel a way about something, right? We'll have an emotion about something, but we won't act in alignment with how we feel about it. That's called being fake or code switching, whatever the case may be, right? And I think you should, I think, like you said, I really like yours. A balance of the logic and the emotion of it, because a lot of times our emotion can cloud our logic, and then our logic can get in the way of following your purpose. So there needs to be, to me, there needs to be a balance of it. And if we gonna, go spiritual, it's spiritual. I'm a man of God as well. The Bible says the heart is deceitful above all at times too. And so I know that also instructs my thinking on this. Like a lot of times, again, we can allow our feelings to affect our intellect at times too, and then just completely throw out logic as well. And I think both needs to be assessed, and neither one needs to be negated and like just completely tossed out the window. But when I say don't follow it, listen to it, but
Like,
don't
don't let that be
necessarily
your guide.
don't let it be your net, like your end all be all. If you get what I'm saying. But it's more to it than that as well. But I'm gonna end on that point.
That was like cool. It gave me another like kind of
Same.
like perspective on it. So
Same.
that was dope.
We all
Same.
going there. That's
Yeah.
what's up.
Yeah, same.
And I'm gonna do another one that I had in my brain, and it's not necessarily like a quote, but it's more or less just like a set of guidelines to follow what you should be doing and what you shouldn't be doing, and that's just the go to school, get a job, and kind of that's where your place is almost, and that's just something that I've always kind of not like disagreed with, but almost like went another way. Like there's this one picture that I really really enjoy, and it's like all these it's like a whole group of people like right here like trying to like fit through like one small door, and then there's like a whole nother road over here, and the one dude's like, bro, we can just go over the wall. What are y'all doing over there? You know what I mean? But that's like the whole thing where like not even just, I mean, yeah, in general, but like in just the society, it's like it's trying to just make it's trying to like push you into a, all right, you go to college, all right, you're pretty much your range right there is you're either going to be making like between 30K or 100K, what most likely if you go to for like a bachelor's degree or something like that.
No, I would agree. I think much more value needs to be put on understanding self, right? And when I say understanding self, like if that was just emphasized a little more in elementary, middle, and high school, by the time you get to college, or the option for college is there, you can decide, okay, is who I am. Is it going to require me to go to college,
Yeah.
or can I get to it a different path? And a lot of times when we graduate high school, we don't really know ourselves. When we graduate college,
Yeah, no,
we don't really
100%.
know
Yeah,
ourselves.
no, 100%.
And so, how can you really make a great decision based off of not even knowing yourself? You just at that point, you just following somebody else's advice about your own life. And so, I definitely agree. It's important to just to add, like, if I may add to
Yeah,
what
for
you
sure.
said, just to do like some self evaluation. And ironically, I'm about to go against my own advice. Like, listen to your heart.
Yeah.
It all comes
The
back.
full circle goes.
Like, listen to who you are, or what resonates with who you are as a person, and then base your life decisions off of that, as opposed to following this one size fits all
Yeah.
version of success. So I definitely agree with you.
Yeah.
Like going off of that too, like I feel like a lot of people like even once they graduate college or get like their dream job, like people just become just complacent. It's like, all right, I got the job and
Now
now
I'm
I'm there. Like I'm very much there. But like you hear people say like every day, like, oh, I hate my job. Like obviously some people just say that. It's like, oh, I hate my job, but then like they just go to work. But some people like truthfully like they dread going to work every day. And like even though they dread going to work every day, like they do it because they just that's all they've known. Like they just never like trust themselves to like, all right, I'm just gonna go out and do this. And like granted, I'm not gonna lie, like I'm pretty much like that person too. Like I'm not gonna say I hate my job, but uncertainty, like I hate uncertainty. Like I wouldn't just quit my job tomorrow just because it's like, all right, this isn't for me. Like for me personally, like if I'm gonna do something, like I need like a path. It's like, all right, if I'm gonna leave this job, like I need to know like what's my next steps. Like I need to have something prepared. Like, oh, I have some interviews lined up already, or oh, I already have a job lined up. I just need to actually hand in my 2 week notice or something like that. But like just people and like even people older than us, like people in like their 40s, like their 50s, like they've been in jobs for what 10, 15 years, and like you can see like, oh, they really hate their job, but they've been doing that their entire life, and that's all they've known because they just refuse to change.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I
No.
think that's good.
No, 100%.
You know what I was thinking about? There's this Walmart in Hampton, Virginia, and there's a man. He's a cart person.
Mm-hmm.
This man's the nicest man I've ever. He always speaks to everybody. I mean, he's like not real.
Yeah.
Like he's always happy, and he's working at Walmart.
Yeah.
But I know he would be so much better at like, just something else. But
Yeah.
and he's still great at being Walmart. But
Mhm.
it was just making me think like, if he even had that perspective of who he
Like-
was, like, you know what I mean, like the power that he could change people's lives. Like I know he's changed people's lives at Walmart, but you gonna graduate? I mean, not graduate, but retire in 20 years, and then what? Like,
Yeah.
he's just such a good person. And I was thinking about that, but yeah, self and like even like I like poetry, but I don't want to go to school for poetry.
Yeah.
And if I went to school for writing, I would not be, I think, as good of a poet as I am now because school
Rigid,
is
and
Mm.
you gotta
like
stick
limiting.
to this.
yeah, and it's someone else's thought of what this is,
Exactly.
and you know what I mean. And you can't really do that when it comes to, trying to figure out who you are
Mhm.
at all.
True say. It's almost like they tell you what to think about who you are. They is this whoever they is.
Yeah.
But that's the general almost advice given by society is I'm not gonna train you to think according to how you normally think. I'm gonna fit your mind into this way of viewing things, and you basically have to view your skills through my lens as society. And so I definitely agree. If I went to school for writing for sure, I'd probably lose passion for it.
Mhm.
That's what happens a
Mhm.
lot
I
of
definitely
times
lose
with
passion
people.
for
Yeah.
it because you're navigated by what inspires you and what's your muse. So I definitely agree on that for sure.
Okay.
Mm.
So I guess we can go ahead and segue into it now because you kind of touched on it.
He did. I heard it.
He popped it.
Uh-oh.
Let's see. So if someone told you just quit your
Mm.
job without a backup plan, it'll all work out. Would you do it? Why or why not? And we're gonna start with DJ.
Hey.
So like I said earlier, no, like obviously, like me, like I'm very like I feel like I lose logic a lot. So like I said, like even if I knew like all right, I like right now I'm a teacher. Like I never saw myself being a teacher. Like my mom always said like DJ, you should be a teacher. I was like, no, that's not really what I want to do. But even now it's like okay, like even now it's like all right, I know that's not like what that's like my true goal in life. But at the same time, it's like all right, like I can see like how I'm impacting like these kids' lives and like it's rewarding to me, like seeing them like, oh hey, Mr. Thorpe, like hey, how y'all doing, stuff like that. But at the same time, in the back of my head, it's like, all right, like I know like there's like just another level for me to get to, and I'm not there yet. But like people going like, oh yeah, just go ahead, follow your heart. If I did that, like I feel like I would just be lost because I feel like when people say like go follow your heart, like they just mean like just go at it like 100 miles per hour, like just don't think about it, just go ahead and just take the risk no matter what. So like I said, if I'm gonna do something, like if I'm gonna quit my job, like I need to know like, oh, I have some interviews lined up already. Like, oh, I already have this position offered to me. Like I hate just that uncertainty of like, what am I gonna do now? Because I didn't think that far ahead because I was just going with what my heart said. So go ahead with that.
All right.
Mm.
Oh yeah.
Same.
I was about to say you go. Oh, all right. What was that like?
Yeah.
All right.
Until
All right.
Nothing right on the board.
Yeah.
Same.
Yes.
Same.
Yes. This is why. The reason why I say yes is because at the end of the day, a job is just to make your bills paid. That is literally the only thing a job needs to do. You don't need to like all of your coworkers. You don't need to even like your manager. I mean, it would be nice to do that, obviously, but like if somebody told me like, yo, Devin, everything's gonna be fine. You just gotta quit your job and then I'm listening because whoever that is probably very smart. You know what I mean? And they probably already know. And then like for me, a worst fear of mine, like a top fear, is to be stuck at a job where I just do not. I mean, not even. I mean, yeah, where I just don't like it. You know what I mean? Like if somebody was like, "All right, Devin, would you rather go work at a job for 20 years or, just try something new and then just see what happens with it?" And then I would 100% just do that because one thing that so my best case I have two scenarios. Best case scenario, worst case scenario. Best case scenario is I follow my dreams and I become the person that I know I'm gonna become, and I end up changing a lot of people's lives, end up helping my family, end up doing exactly what I said I'm gonna do. Worst case scenario is I have a job and I have to go to work. You know what I mean? But most people's worst case or best case scenarios is my worst case scenario. Like so many people are scared to even just do that because why would they do that when they can stay at the job and just like that's their best case scenario is working at that job. When I'm like me, it's like, man, I'm gonna strive and try to do everything I can. And if all this shit fails, all right, I'm gonna go get a job. You know what I mean? But the chances of that happening, as long as I'm just straight on that goal oriented thing, because that's kind of like something that I'm also dealing with like right now is just like it's kind of like just imagine like going up like a whole ass staircase and then it's like a circular one or like a spiral staircase. So you can like for me, I get lost looking up at how far I'm gonna go and how far I can go, and then I also get lost. Like I mean, that's mainly what I get lost at doing is looking up and being like, "Damn, bro, I got so far I gotta go with this shit." You know what I mean? There's a lot of things I gotta go to get to the top of the staircase, and then I'll be forgetting to look down and be like, "Holy shit, I came a long way." You know what I mean? I like last year this time I wasn't on this stuff, so that's like one thing that I've been trying to get better at is looking down, looking up, but also mainly just staying in that one step at a time type shit. So that's like my answer. Yes, 100%. Fuck a job. I'm anti fuck a job. Sorry, I'm allowed to cuss, but fuck it. Shit. All right, it's all good. You got it.
I absolutely agree with you on the staircase analogy. That was dope. Sometimes I forget how far I've come, looking at how far I gotta go. Um, just one step at a time, like you said. That's fire though. And I believe your question was, if somebody asks you to just quit your job, would I do it? So my answer is for sure.
For sure.
But it depends on who's telling you, right?
Yeah.
And that's something I want to like just bring up eventually too. Who you take advice from is just as important as the advice, right?
That's fair.
But I say initially for sure, just who I am. I'm a man of faith. Like I don't need much understanding on where this path will lead as long as I trust in God. That's my source of strength and guidance. And so I don't need to have all the answers to take whatever decision. So I don't have to be comfortable in making a decision before I make it. And that goes into that decision with a job as well. Just I know myself. I've definitely turned down some things to make sure that my time was still available to me. I really value my time and what I'm able to do with my time. And so yeah, I know every decision has a trade off. So it might have came with maybe less financial security, but it also came with discovering who I am on a deeper level and discovering who the Lord is to me and understanding that. And so so I know for sure, like I not it's not a theory, like
Yeah.
I know I have definitely lived that out the past 3 or 4 years. So absolutely, definitely, that's for sure is my answer. No, I'll pass it to you.
Oh yes,
Morgan.
hell yes. I don't want to cuss, but yeah, I've done it. Like I've done it. I got out the military, didn't know where the hell I was going, but I was not happy in the military, so I got out. Um, the biggest one, COVID. When COVID happened, I was working on post, making too much money to even say, right? But I'm not getting the COVID shot.
Yeah.
And I just didn't get it because of where I was working, and I saw people getting it, and they came in one way and came out the other way. So I was just like, okay. And they were like, hey, you got to get it or you got to quit. Okay, sorry. See, bye. And they were like, wait, you not coming back on Monday? No, I'm sorry. What you gonna do? I don't know. And I got kids, but I mean, I just know I gotta be. If I'm waking up in the morning, gratitude to God, and then I gotta go someplace where I'm not in that mind frame where I'm just complaining about other beings, other whatever's happening. No. It grosses me out. It makes me like, and yeah, I might not, like you were saying, financial, but he gonna provide. And you can have the bare minimum and still be okay. Maybe you need to let some stuff go.
Yeah.
You don't always need the gym membership. You know what I mean? The outside, even though it's raining, you can run in the rain. You might fall, but you can run in the rain. You know what I mean? You don't always need,
Like that.
you know what I'm saying? So I just think even if the financial drops, that just means that you just need to change your way of life. So I've done it and I'll do it again in a heartbeat. Because if I'm not happy where I'm at, nah, that don't even make no sense to me.
Yeah.
At all.
Absolutely.
And I respect the COVID decision as well because I did the same thing, not with the military, but with ODU. They were trying to get us to all take it, and I ended up actually getting like a religious exemption form
Mhm.
because not enough research has been done.
Mhm.
And I got COVID before, and then I was just like, oh, this is a sickness that every other sickness that I've gotten, and then I got over it, and then and then it was like just how persistent
Yeah.
everybody was and everything was. I was like, I'll wait a little bit on it, and if it's something that I decide to do on my own terms, then it'll be
Yes.
something that I decide to do. But I'm not
Yes.
about to, like, I'll go get tested every week to let y'all know I don't got
Mhm.
COVID before
Yeah.
I go just get something in my body. I don't even get the flu vaccine, you know what I'm saying?
Same.
And
Same.
I haven't gotten the flu in a very long time, you know what I
Absolutely.
mean? So I don't know. That's kind of like where my brain is with that.
No, for sure. And if I remember correctly, they were advising us very strongly
Yeah,
to, to take that,
yeah,
right?
no, 100%
So
advice.
again, I that would lead, if I may pivot a little bit, that would lead to who is giving the advice, or who. I think that's just as important
That's crazy.
as the advice, right? So we advise you to take this vaccine because it is for the betterment of everybody. Okay, well, who is so strongly urging us to take this and why?
Mhm.
I think it's good to question,
Mhm.
interview your interviewer,
Mhm.
like
Mhm.
Mhm.
question who is giving you the answer.
Mhm.
To sound all philosophical,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
Mhm.
but so yeah, I can add more to that, but I think you got some.
Well, we do got a couple more
Ooh.
questions. If
I'm
y'all,
like,
y'all are rolling, y'all can roll. Um, if y'all are ready for the next question, we do it. We're gonna flip it to to positive advice.
Mhm.
okay.
Mhm.
What's the best piece of advice you received, and how did you follow
Uh, I'll start. So like I literally
Come on.
it?
like this is like I said, listen, everybody, closed mouths don't get fed. Like when I
Mhm.
first heard this, like at first I was like, what's that mean? And then like as I got older, I was like, all right. Like when I started getting more news, I was like, hey, like, can I do this? Like I've always been like a timid person. Like I'm not really
Mhm.
gonna ask for you for something. Like if I ask you for help, it's because I really need it and there was no way for me to get it myself. So like even then, like just realizing like, hey, even if I don't have it, somebody out there knows what I need, or somebody knows somebody that can help me get somewhere. So, like during my time at ODU, like I was good friends with Devin at ODU.
Mm.
So like during my time there, like I was always in my advisor's room stressing. I was like, Dr. Redmond, like I'm not sure if I can find an internship. Like, can you help me? Like just being proactive, just
Mhm.
reaching out, like, hey, can you help me get to where I want to be? Because nobody know, like nobody's a mind reader. Like nobody's gonna know what you're going through if you don't tell them, hey, I'm struggling, I need help, or like I may have a smile, but I'm secretly I'm just crushed and I just need to vent or just rant about how I'm feeling.
Mhm.
So, like I said, like nobody's a mind reader. Like you'd have to actually tell people, like, hey, this is what I'm going through. This is what I need. Can
Mhm.
you help me get there, or can you at least put me in contact with somebody that can
Mhm.
help me get to where I need to go?
Mhm. Yeah.
Beautiful.
I just want to say I like that you're asking for help,
Mhm.
and not just asking, but I mean I was talking about this earlier, but like actively wanting to be better. Like, cause some people ask for help and then want the help to just come at their
Yeah.
front door. Like, you know what I
And
mean?
do it
Like,
for them.
yeah, it's like
Mhm.
people who ask for
Mhm.
help. It's like, oh, I actually have to work for it. It's like, no,
Mhm.
like when you ask for help, like you realize, like that was just like that was just not knock on the door. Like now you actually have to like introduce yourself. Like, all
Mhm.
right, like you put me in contact with this person, I have to now reach out for this person. Like, hey, I'm so and so. So and so gave me your contact. This is what I'm trying to do.
Mhm.
Can we like set up a date where I can just not let's prick your brain, just get the information what I'm trying to do, so we can just keep building up from there.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know if this is really advice or maybe just something that I like to live by, and it's just like everything happens for a reason. Like I feel like
Mm-hmm.
literally everything that we even
Mm.
encounter, like everything, even a wrong decision, best decision, everything is leading you to some point. So that's like just something I like to like live my life by. Like even um just thinking like because the past couple weeks I've kind of been in like a weird mind state. I don't know if it's because of the weather or a lot of other factors kind of play into it as well, but like I've just been like not really motivated, not really wanting to do as much that like I normally do. And I was just thinking that it was just like me, like,
Mm-mm.
but it's like
No,
it's okay to feel like that because for one, we're all humans. We're gonna feel every type of emotion and go through every type of thing that there is. So like that's like everything happens for a reason. And even like if you go to that job and you know in the moment you're probably like, dude, why am I here? Or not even just a job, or like maybe even a relationship, you're in there and you're just like standing there, and then like whenever y'all break up or whenever you leave that job, you can be thinking like, it's the worst thing that ever happened to me. And then a couple years later or a year later, you're looking back like, dude, that was the greatest decision of my entire life. But the only way that you can get there is if you go through the bad or go through the good. Like,
Absolutely. You heard this old Chinese proverb, like you never know what's bad or good?
I don't think so.
Oh, for the sake of time, I won't get into it.
Yeah,
but
I mean, I want to hear. Yeah.
Perspective. Perspective.
Yeah, perspective. All
Mhm.
right, so I hope I do it justice when I tell it. So there's like this old, like, I don't know, farmer. Let's just say like old Chinese farmer. And he I think he gets his like son some horses or something, right? Or he has horses and he let his son ride. And the farm friends would come over and be like, "Hey, your son is having fun with the horses, yada yada." That's cool. He says, "You never know what's bad or good." So what ends up happening, the boy one day as he's on the horses, he falls off the horse, breaks his arm, and the same people come to the farmer like, "Oh man, what a tragedy! Your son broke his arm." He's like, "You never know what's bad or good."
Yeah.
And so not too long after that, I think the army of that nation comes to his house and it's like, "We're drafting boys to go into the war," and because his son was injured, he wasn't able. He wasn't eligible for the draft.
Yeah.
And so he says, "You never know what's bad or good." And so, like, I really have adopted that perspective, to just be even killed no matter what happens in life. Um, you never know what's bad or good, and it's similar to what you said. Like, just things happen for a reason. We might not always know the reason at the moment, but most of the time, hindsight is truly 2020, and
Yeah.
you'll see why this had to happen in order for you to be who you are today. So for sure, I just wanted to add that to
Yeah.
that.
No, that's fire, bro. I appreciate
I like
that.
that.
I never.
Taoist belief.
Yeah.
It is from the Tao, if I'm not
It
mistaken.
is.
Or I remember studying the Tao, and
It's like
it was
the
told
Tao.
to me.
That's the yin yang, like the yin.
Yeah.
For sure.
Duality, yeah.
Absolutely. And so my piece of advice is two-part. I'm gonna try to be real quick with this. So one, be true to yourself, to thy own self be true is how it was taught to me. And but also that, and my pops gave me some advice when I was younger. He was like, anytime you go to interview for a job, when you go to that job, look at the cars in the parking lot. Those are the cars of the employees that work there. That'll let you know your future if you work at that job, right? And that's why I said earlier, interview the interviewer. Like, who is giving you the advice? What are you buying into? And so that was fire as far as like a secular thing, but I took it into the spiritual world, or just in general, right? So just my quick little background, and I studied philosophy and religion in school. That was my major. I majored in philosophy, religion, and minor in psychology because I was just trying to figure this thing out, right? And so I applied the same piece of advice that he gave me into, okay, which belief system is the one I'm gonna go with? Because I'm basically, it taught me to look at the fruit of something. That's the end all be all of that advice. Look at the fruit. Is you following this particular belief, or the people that do follow this belief? What are their lives like right now? Look at your end point of this. And so when I looked at it like that, that changes my life completely. And so now anytime I seek for advice, I'm like, okay, who is giving me this advice? Or anytime I seek to follow a pathway of success or whatever, it's like, okay, well, one, are you a hypocrite? Are you just giving me some advice you don't follow? All right, two, is following your advice gonna get me at where I want to be at in the first place? And so then that pairs with to thy own self be true. So I try to always be true with who I am and true to my beliefs, but true to my heart and true to my passions. And so that's my advice.
Damn,
I
that's
feel like it's
fire.
my
I
best.
got a question. So, like, you said a lot, like, pretty much like interview like your interviewer, or like pretty much like take, like whoever gives you advice, like take that with a grain of salt. So, like, my question for you is, do you think like you'll know if that person is like right for giving advice at the moment, or like would that happen like in later time? If
Um,
that makes sense.
I think for each individual that it would depend on each individual case, but for I just say personally for me, it's certain things I look at when I listen to somebody speaking about something that they claiming to be an expert at, and so um, I again like we just said, you never know what's bad or good. Like it might seem like good advice, but hindsight when you actually follow it a year later, 2 years later, was it actually good advice according to how it actually ended up? So I
Mhm.
think you can kind of answer that question in the moment, but like hindsight is always 2020 to
Mhm.
put things in full perspective. So yeah, that's my answer to that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was gonna say their eyes. Sorry, I just think I think the eyes are windows.
The
You know what I
eyes,
mean?
though.
Like you can
It's
just tell by
definitely
looking at
Cool.
people whether they on some BS or not.
Yeah.
And I like to call them out. Sorry, I don't want to get into that, but yeah. Oh, I think take responsibility for your life. Like
Mhm.
it's my best advice. I was like basking in depression, and you couldn't tell me I wasn't depression. I was almost to the point where I was like broadcasting that I was depressed, and it was weird.
Mhm.
And I remember this lady. She was old. She's probably like 80 years old, and she's probably dead now. Ooh, rest her soul.
Rest in
But
peace.
she was just like, you gotta stop blaming. It's not. You know what I'm saying? It's not your friend. It's not your brother. It's not your mother. Like, and even if it is them, okay, they raised you, but that you 20 something now. Like it's not their fault. Like
Yeah.
that whole childhood trauma thing that's going around. Oh, I don't want to get into it, but
No.
oh, okay.
No, get into it.
It's
Get
like
into it.
it's like it's becoming a trend to blame your parent, and I'm a parent, so I also am a little biased. But however I raise my kids is what I know best at the moment, right? And then their life is gonna be their life, and they gotta, you know what I mean? They gotta do the work. So my mom may have raised me one way, but at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying? That's over there. Like she don't control me waking up in the morning, you know what I mean, choosing to be mad at you or you or you. Like that's my choice. So that whole childhood trauma thing that's going around, I'm not a fan of that. Like it happened when you was a child. Yes, deal with it, but don't make excuses for
for
the
sure.
decisions that you make. Yeah.
Yeah, like going off of that too, like people like love to make excuses like, oh, like this has happened to me, like this has
Mm-hmm.
happened to me. Like they want just people sympathy, like to be like, all right, like okay, like I'm cool,
Mm-hmm.
but like what my mom always told me is like there's always somebody that has it worse. Like oh, like you don't have car, like you don't have money to fill up your tank. Well, some people don't even have cars.
Mm-hmm.
Like some people, like oh, like I'm struggling with rent. Some people don't have a house. Like some people are living under the bridge. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's all about perspective. Like it
Mm-hmm.
could always be worse for you. And then, like I said too, like some people just want that sympathy. So it's like, all right, like it's like, oh, I'm so sorry. It's like, like they just want that. It's like, okay, like I can just fall back in my box now because people aren't just like, okay, it's like, how are you gonna deal with that?
Mm-hmm.
If you see what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, no, it's like they use that to
Yeah.
justify it.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely, and I'll end it with a quote. Got it from my beloved apostle. I gotta shout that out. But they say, she said, "You you're born looking like your parents, but you die looking like your decisions."
Mm.
And so, yeah, it's a lot. Like if we can blame anybody and everybody
Mm-hmm.
for like the life that we have, but ultimately, once we are aware that this is why we are who we are, now we're responsible for
Mm-hmm.
changing it. And then I'll yield on that.